You know, I didn't think Break could get any stronger, but it's going to. With the addition of Fugue, the Break meta is getting yet another dedicated 5-star support. Fugue lowers enemy defense, increases break damage, and provides enemy action delay just like well. So we'll talk about how to build this new fire nihility in terms of Lightcones, Relics, Teamcomps, and Eidolons. Alright, let's start with her nihility Lightcone options. Her signature compared to everything else is her best. It's the only limited nihility Lightcone that provides break effect right now, and that's really the most important stat. The two other Lightcones that provide break effect are Fermata and Solitary Healing. Both at S5 are really strong, but I'd say if you have Resolution at S4 or S5, then it will generally perform best compared to all the other free-to-play options. So in order of strength, Signature, Resolution, S4, S5, Solitary Healing S5, then Fermata S5 if you don't have any of those. Moving on to Relic Sets, her best in slot 4-piece set is Iron Cavalry. Don't bother with the 4-piece Thief set, it's okay but not better. If you don't have a decent 4-piece Cavalry set, or your substats just suck, then 2-piece combinations of any break effect and speed set works really well. Thief, Cavalry, Messenger, Ordeal, or Watchmaker. For Fugue's planet ornaments, she has a couple options that depend on how you will play her. So firstly, if you're using her with Firefly or against an enemy with fire weakness, then Kalpani will be the best in slot by far. It gives speed and a ton of break effect. But otherwise, Kingdom of Banditry is her only other option providing break effect, but I'd say just farm Kalpani. For Fugue's main stats and substat goals, she wants survivability on the body or anything with the best substats. However, I will say effect hit rate provides the most comfort. Speed on the boots, survivability on the orb, again, same thing as the body. Use best substats, and then break effect on the rogue, unless you can hit 220% without it somehow. Otherwise, you can use ER%, but her ult isn't really that great. Now, substats and stat goals. 220% break effect first. It's the most important. Then at least 160 speed while in battle. Everything else does not matter, so if you want more break effect or speed, then go for it. Also, effect hit rate isn't terrible. Finally, the most fun part, team comps. So Fugue pairs with any break-focused DPS. Firefly, Fugue, Ranmei, Lingsha is incredible. Probably her best comp. You can replace Lingsha with Gallagher, then any other sustain is just decent after that. Fugue is also good with Rappa or Boot Hill in the same comp, and also DPS Lingsha. So I've seen some popularity for this comp, and to be honest, DPS Lingsha is so incredibly strong, I don't understand. It's a sick comp. But what I was personally most interested in was how she fares with Acheron as a nihility unit. So she's really not great. It's a little finicky working around her debuff application because Acheron has this thing where it builds stacks per ability usage, so it doesn't really build more stacks if everything happens in the same turn. You'd have to instead use Fugue skill on someone else and build stacks that way. Overall, it's not worth it. You're better off using like Pela or something. Also, Break, Himiko, Herta with Fugue and Lingsha can be a decent comp as well. But let's move on to Eidolons. E1 increases weakness break efficiency by 50% for the ally who Fugue skilled on. This is a decent Eidolon, especially for Firefly. I'd say it has more value than her signature, so go for it if you're thinking about pulling anything extra. Then E2, when an enemy gets weakness broken, Fugue regenerates 3 energy, and when she ults, she advances all allies by 24%. Pretty strong Eidolon. It could definitely make the difference for a 0 cycle clear. Also, the energy regen is nice, but her ult isn't important at all. E4 increases the skilled allies' break damage by 20%. For an E4, it's actually really good. It's an independent multiplier, so it stacks like crazy on top of everything else. Finally, we're getting an E4 that actually does something for once. And then E6. It increases Fugue's weakness break efficiency by 50% while she's in her Torrid Scorch state, which is when she skills on an ally. And then her Foxian Prayer effect applies to every ally. So no matter who she skills on, every ally gains break effect and can lower toughness regardless of element by 50% of its normal amount. To be honest, this Eidolon is not actually that great. I mean, it allows you to run anyone regardless of element and still get weakness breaks, but still, for an E6, this does practically nothing. Regardless though, Fugue is still an incredible unit. I will say she's designed for current characters like Firefly and Rappa. She won't really get value in 3.0. That's more of a Sunday thing. So if you want her for your Firefly, she's great. If you want her for Eidolons, just don't.